Hello, boys and ghouls. Welcome to another very special episode of the Subway Rat Podcast. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Luis. I live in Madrid, Spain, with my dog Bingo. I have a grindcore band entitled Teething. I like to do a lot of artwork under the name Luisifer, but enough about me. Enough about me. Let's talk about my very special guest today, which is Blake Harrison of the mighty, and I mean mighty, Pig Destroyer. Not only Pig Destroyer, but also Zealot. I think I'm mispronouncing it again. Zealot, R.I.P., Hatebeak, Triac, Daybreak, and a bunch of other stuff. Before getting into today's conversation, I just wanted to share with everyone that during today's dog walk, I stumbled upon a snake. A snake. It's the second time Bingo and I stumble across a snake. Bingo wanted to smell it, but I let him know that wasn't a very good idea, hence pulling on his leash. So I feel like here where we live in the outskirts of Madrid, Torrelodones, we're gonna stumble upon a snake at least once a year. Tune in a year where I'll tell you another story about stumbling upon a snake. And it'll be a very similar story because I can imagine not much will happen. So that's enough of me and my snake story, which was barely a story. Anyways, here's my awesome conversation with Blake. What a cool guy. What a down-to-earth guy. Please enjoy my conversation with Blake Harrison of Pig Destroyer.
Thanks for being accommodating. Tomorrow, I've been having some serious health things, and I got 2 doctor's appointments.
Wow.
So I've been on the phone to try to reschedule one because I scheduled them both for the same time.
Okay. Okay.
And then I'm furloughed right now, but my boss called me.
Okay.
So we're still working on trying to get me back in the office at some point.
Okay. And do you mind me asking what's the issue? Are you going to be okay?
Yeah, I'll be okay. In January, I was diagnosed with stage 3 melanoma.
Okay. So
I had a big tumor and I had it cut out, and I'm in current treatment. But by all accounts, my oncologist says I'm good. My blood work looks good, but I have a treatment tomorrow and a follow up with my surgeon. So the surgeon is just a follow up. So I kind of forgot all about it.
Okay.
Because it had been probably about 4 months.
Okay, dude. Well, of course I wasn't aware of this. Well, I don't know how serious melanoma is.
I mean, just like anything, it's not too bad right now.
Okay, dude. Well, hoping all the best. You do look thinner and healthier than usual.
Thank you.
Have you been hitting the gym?
No, I wish. It's July, I think. Being furloughed is not really good for my mental state. Hold on one sec.
No problem.
I got like 25 things going on. I'll make sure my phone is charging. Yeah, so I would really love to be in the gym. But the gym is in our public library. I live in Wheaton, Maryland. So that is opening back up in July. So yeah.
Okay. So are you? I just want to make sure you're all comfy. You got your email sorted out. Like,
yep.
You got your water. You're good to go.
I'm good, man.
Okay, man. Well, I'm glad you're staying healthy. So, let me give you a bit of context on who I am. I'm based out of Madrid, Spain. Of course, I love Pig Destroyer and all of your bands. I play in a grindcore band called Teething from Madrid, Spain, and I also like to. I'm a big.
I've heard of you guys. You guys are great.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's good to know. It's gotten all the way over there. Okay, fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, it's been 10 years strong, and we did play together once in 2015 at Obscene Extreme. Of course, there was like 78 bands going on. So.
And that was a particularly weird one because we didn't have our gear.
That's right. You had to borrow Terroriz's gear.
We had to borrow whatever we could, which unfortunately did not do anything for me. I don't know if you remember, I just kind of got on stage and drank and jumped around, but
dude, you're totally getting ahead of me. I wanted to mention this, but please Go on about that.
It seems like every time we go through Charles de Gaulle, man, it's always that. And it's always like, Charles de Gaulle is just, it's a terrible hub. And not to speak ill about the French, I'm not really doing that, but it just doesn't seem like a very well planned out airport. So every other time we either miss our connection because it's like, oh, don't worry about it. You'll have plenty of time. It's only 2 miles away.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And you got like 20 minutes. So yeah, that whole trip, I don't think we got most of our gear back for like a month or two after that. Like they started coming in dribs and drabs. Like one airport would call me and say, hey, we got 2 bags. And then another airport would call me like 2 weeks later, say we got 2 more bags. And another airport.
What a nightmare, dude.
It really was not super fun.
How was that experience? Just like being the crazy Juggalo Slipknot member on the Obscene Extreme stage without having to like play an instrument.
I mean, it was not, preferred, but it was fun. Especially the Obscene Extreme, Yeah. I think a lot of the fans there care more about dressing goofy and stage diving than they do the actual music. So, I think I kind of got them whipped into a frenzy, but we had a couple dates in Italy after that. So that was kind of weird.
Okay, so Obscene Extreme 1, Italy 0. I'm guessing if there's a place to do it, that not play with your instrument and just like headbang, stage dive, drink beer, that's definitely the Obscene Extreme.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, we almost might not. We were very close to not even making our set time at that Obscene Extreme. I mean, I think we were like 40 minutes before we went on stage is when we got to the festival.
I can recall because I must say, from my point of view, that was the first and only time I saw Pig Destroyer. I don't have a reference, but it was a 10 out of 10 show. So
thank you.
People were wild. You guys sounded great. I was really impressed. I remember I think Leon Del Muerte just told me he just like took his guitar off and put it on top of Scott.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Leon's an old buddy of ours. Like I've known Leon since before I was in Pig Destroyer when I was in a band called Triac. And Chirby knew the situation. We've been in contact with him quite a bit. So we kind of, definitely sucks when you deal with like missing a flight, missing gear. You kind of want to relax, but we didn't have time. We hit the ground running.
Dude, and I just recently learned that you kind of act like a manager for Pig Destroyer. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to like book, like for example, if something goes wrong, is everyone looking at you like, oh, you fucked up? Like
it depends, but sometimes. But in that case, in this particular case that we're discussing, no.
Okay.
There's always one minor detail I forget, and
okay.
Trying to be on it, but it's hard to please, a bunch of people. Like I just booked flights for Psycho Las Vegas, which is in August.
Yes.
For us, and it'll be our first show, and obviously,
lineup.
Yes, yeah. And obviously in a while, no one's been playing shows, so I had to book 5 different itineraries, flights. So it's like, well, we want to go this day. I want to go this day. I want to go this day. I'm like, all right, guys, I need very succinct information. Right. A lot of this and that is not really happening.
That's so interesting. I like to hear this kind of stuff because I feel that's my role in teething. And like in Pig Destroyer, everyone's in different places and everyone wants to fly on different days, different time zones. Or how does
we're all pretty local. Okay. Me and Scott live in the DC area. Adam and Travis live in Baltimore, and Jared lives in Virginia, but he's about 45 minutes away.
Okay, so you can make it work.
Yeah, but it's just like everything else, like not being in front of somebody and talking over text. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you know how it is.
Yeah,
it can be difficult at times.
And you're like, dude, I don't want to be the asshole that hits you up for the 3rd time, but can you please let me know when you can make this happen?
Yes, so there's a big event, I guess, in Vegas that's going on. So hotels might be an issue right now, but I think I got it squared. But
awesome,
we'll figure it out.
Was Danzig playing the Psycho Las Vegas this year?
Yes, Danzig still is. Awesome. I think the big one was Merciful Fate. Couldn't make it, which is a bummer because I really want to see Merciful Fate. But I think Down is replacing them, and Emperor is still on, as far as I know. So
it's gonna work out. It's gonna be a great one. Hopefully it'll happen. We'll keep our fingers crossed. So
yeah.
so Blake, I'm gonna give a brief introduction on you. Let me know if I'm missing anything. So
Sure.
you're playing Pig Destroyer, Hatebeak, excuse my pronunciation, Zealot, rest in peace, R.I.P.
Zealot, R.I.P. Yeah.
Zealot, R.I.P. And you used to play in Triac.
Triac, and it was in not too many people know this one, but I was in a power violence band for Baltimore called Daybreak years and years and years ago. I mean, we're going back 20 years at least.
Daybreak, I wasn't aware of this. Is this
Yeah.
what era was this? Like early 2000s?
Late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay.
So what is it? Yeah, we would have been broken up around 2000.
Excellent. What kind of, because like for me, power violence is so huge. You can either sound like spaz or crossed out or something.
We didn't sound
more
like any of those. I wish we did. It was kind of more a lot of people have called it fastcore since then.
Okay.
But that didn't exist when we were doing it. So I was just defer to power violence. It was just kind of sloppy, fast, punkish style metal. I mean, that was basically it.
Excellent. Okay, I'll definitely check out Daybreak then. So am I missing anything? No, that's pretty much your CV. That's
yeah. Okay. I mean, a couple other bands that no one's ever heard of, or my like DI style California surf punk band that didn't last and played like 4 shows.
Okay.
But,
Okay. But we hit the main ones.
You hit the main ones.
Okay, so Blake, I'm gonna ask you, just be prepared because this is the best question you're gonna be asked all day. I want to know if you prefer sweet or salty food.
I would say currently salty.
Okay.
I used to be more of a super into sugar when I was younger. And it was I hate to sound like this, but it's one of those things my dad was like, when you get older, you're not going to like it as much. And he's right. But yeah, it's I've low blood sugar issues, so I kind of got to eat more like sustainable, like kind of slow burning grains and stuff like that, or I crash super hard. It doesn't stop me.
Okay.
But yeah.
I'm definitely more of a salty guy as well, but my girlfriend has a humongous sweet tooth and she likes to smoke at night, so she's always like getting donuts or M&Ms or something like that. So I can't it's hard to stay away from it.
Well, being 45, man, my metabolism's starting to slow down a little bit. So I try to stay away from like sugar and stuff because, like I said, not just going to the gym now, but it's hard to get into there and burn that stuff off.
Okay, gotcha. I'll be aware. I'm 35. I'm definitely already starting to notice that. And since we chose salty, I want to know what your dish of choice is. It can be either like a restaurant or your girlfriend's like food or something you prepare.
Oh man. I make this Cuban dish called vaca frita. Ooh. Which is like you take like a flank steak or something very like a more grainy style steak and boil it for a couple days or until it gets soft basically, and then you shred it and then pan fry the shreds. Ooh. So it's pretty good. That's the one I go to. You obviously can't make it every day. It's not super healthy for you, and it's not easy to make. Like it takes some time.
I feel like that's amazing. You boil it for days.
Yeah, or put it in the slow cooker for a day, or boil it at a very low temperature. You can put it in the oven for a low temperature for a day. You just need it to kind of fall apart.
That's awesome. So that's maybe something you'll prepare on a Sunday. You'll be like, all right.
Yeah, I tend to do that more if we have people coming over or something like that. I noticed your Fear City tattoo, man. That's pretty cool.
Yes. Dude, I think you're the first person that ever recognizes this. So
I definitely know what that is. I went to New York in the 70s. Granted, I was a little kid and it was still pretty dangerous, and I don't remember anyone passing us those flyers. But it's just a cool graphic too, man.
Definitely. Yeah. Thanks so much, dude. Like my history with this tattoo is I was lucky enough to live in New York for 5 years. I studied and worked there in my 20s. And when I left, New York and Brooklyn just had such a huge impact on me. Like, I wanted to get a New York tattoo, so I was just doing research. I stumbled upon this flyer, and it was a no-brainer. It was like, Fear City for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a very interesting, I think,
It's just
like,
perfect graphic, yeah, for sure.
it is. And New York was so dangerous, and I don't think people really, you see the images, and like even Manhattan was like a demilitarized zone. It's pretty interesting to me.
I don't know about you, like being a huge movie buff, when a movie takes place in New York, it's just like it makes it that much better, especially if it's like New York in the 70s or something.
Yeah, me too. There's recently, and I say recently, probably in the last 15 years, there was that shitty CGI American Godzilla that really sucked. And then some Japanese company did basically a response to that, where it was all rubber suits and stuff. And there was and actually that Godzilla fights the CGI Godzilla. But there was a part where they Mothra or Rodan or someone comes into New York, and it's like a wino laying in the gutter with like newspaper blowing and like a pimp. And I was like, man, this guy nailed it, even though it was a more modern movie. It's like definitely a little like tongue in cheek, but
awesome. I haven't watched these. Are you talking about the ones that came out like 4 years ago or something?
No. This is way before that. The CGI Godzilla was probably in the 2000s.
You mean
really
that one?
shitty?
Yeah, the one that was like a huge deal that had like a Puff Daddy, Jamiroquai soundtrack. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Japan was like, my assumption is Japan was like, no, you don't fuck with Godzilla like this. So whoever they hired as a director, and that one's great. It's like all rubber suits. It's really cool looking.
Okay, are you a big? I'm gathering you're a big Godzilla dude.
Not really, actually. I'm just kind of a movie guy in general.
Okay.
It's hard to find the time, even being furloughed right now, is hard to find the time to cut out and watch as many as I'm probably about 30 or 40 behind right now.
Okay, gotcha. Well, this is a perfect segue because I wanted to ask you a movie question, because right now you're living in Baltimore, Maryland, right? That's where
I'm outside of DC.
Oh, okay.
I've been here for 3 or 4 years.
Oh, okay. Because
Baltimore's like 40 minutes away. So
gotcha. I wanted to ask you, because one of my favorite film directors of all time is John Waters, and when I hear Baltimore, Maryland, that's the first thing that comes to mind. So I wanted to ask
100%.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you if you have any cool John Waters moments or stories or whatever.
I have quite a bit, actually. So the movie Pecker was shot in the neighborhood I lived in at the time.
Sick.
And John and his assistant came to one of what I mentioned, the band Daybreak, because he was looking for quote unquote scary bands to put on the soundtrack. Daybreak had a very we weren't very popular, and we I don't want to say violent, but we kind of whipped people into a frenzy, and I think it might have been a little too much for him. And then there was this bar I used to hang out, and the nickname was called the Bucket of Blood. It was not a super nice bar, and I was like, watch this, to my friend that was she was just a girl I knew. I was like, I'm gonna get us a free beer. And I was like, hey John, we're big fans. We just got engaged. And he was like, oh, you guys are cute. I'm like, you can't even pop for a beer, you cheap fuck.
Oh, no way.
But yeah, I've met him a couple times over the years. He's a really nice guy.
That's awesome, dude. Okay, so your second sentence to John was like, cheap fuck.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Is the bar you're mentioning, is that the bar that appears in the movie in Pecker?
No, that's a fictional bar. But it was probably around the corner. And John Waters, as far as I know, still goes there quite a bit when he's in town. I don't think he lives in Baltimore most of the year anymore. I think he's more Los Angeles. But yeah, I mean, it was not uncommon to go out on like a Friday night and run into him. I mean, he's very much like down to earth and just kind of hangs out.
Very cool. Very accessible from what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is he definitely like a hometown hero? Like everyone like gives him the thumbs up, or is he controversial?
Yeah, no, he's not. I mean, his controversy was, his controversial movies were so long ago that, I don't think a lot of people either watched them then and or remember. As more mainstream films started coming out in the 90s and stuff. I mean, I was in Serial Mom. I think that you might be able to see my head for two half seconds or something.
No way. What scene, dude?
When the band was called Camel Toe, but it was actually L7, and they were playing at a Baltimore club called Hammer Jacks, which is closed and since reopened in a different location. And I'm not even positive it's me. I think it's my friend's head, and I think it's my head. So
okay, but you were at the shoot, and you were at that show. And okay,
it was probably 2021, so we didn't really have anything to do. Like, kind of in college, kind of not, and it was one of those things. We're like, fuck it, let's go.
That is my favorite John Waters film. I feel like it goes unrecognized just because he has so many great ones, but it was
kind of his first mainstream film and break from his like super trashy cinema. I mean, there was a lot of trashy stuff in it. That was actually shot where I went to college. So
that's awesome. Yeah, so you definitely have like 70 John Waters stories. Okay, awesome. Dude.
And as a side note, not to get too off topic, the college I went to, and this was before I was there, the scene in Silence of the Lambs where she goes to interview Lecter, those exterior shots were shot at the college I went to.
Oh, wow, dude.
Yeah.
Is that at the beginning of the movie?
No, it's when the first, like, anytime she goes to see Hannibal Lecter and he's in the quote unquote,
gotcha.
The I don't even remember what it's called. It's like the Baltimore violent criminal.
Gotcha.
I don't know where the interiors were shot, probably on the soundstage, but the exteriors were definitely shot at the college. And actually, a buddy of mine was in town this weekend, and I live in DC, so I took him to the Exorcist stairs, the house where the exteriors were shot, and the steps. So, dude, there's a lot of stuff around here that's kind of cool.
There's a lot of stuff. Yeah, I did go to those stairs at one point in my life, and I don't know about you, but maybe I was just all hyped up. But there's something eerie about that place, you know?
Oh yeah, man. It's those stairs are super, super steep and kind of off the beaten path. Like, if you didn't know they were there, you wouldn't just be strolling around and be like, oh, there they are.
Yeah.
It's funny because I always tell my girlfriend, I'm like, it'd be really cool if we could buy this house and be like, someone's like coming over, like, where do you live? I'm like, I live in the Exorcist house, motherfucker.
Dude, please make it happen at some point.
No, it's owned by the Georgetown University, and I think it's a little out of my price range, like $5.5 million or something like that.
Dude, I was able to make like I took an awesome picture of myself, just like obviously I'm guessing like hundreds of people have done this, but like just pretending you're dead on those stairs.
Yeah. I've definitely done that more than once.
Okay, so let's leave the movies behind for now. Let's talk about Pig Destroyer.
Okay.
Pornographers of Sound is your latest release. I feel like it came out of nowhere, which is awesome. And I wanted to know how long this has been in the works. Was it your idea? Was it Relapse's idea? Yeah, just walk me through it.
So right before, I guess not right before the pandemic, but the October before, with our new bass player, Travis, we were able to learn quite a bit of material. Awesome. So we had 2 sets. So we did 2 sets in Baltimore, 2 different sets back to back. And St. Vitus is a bar we play in Brooklyn quite a bit, and they wanted us to do that. So we did it. Them being super professional, we thought the sound was really good. And during the pandemic, I guess Relapse said a lot of bands were releasing just on Spotify, but like live records. Well, we hit up St. Vitus. They sent us the audio from those 2 shows. And Scott basically liked it enough where we thought we could make a live record out of it. It's not a full release. I don't know. Live records were like a big thing in the 90s.
Yeah.
Not so much these days. So that'll be out next week. And, Scott remixed and mastered it and kind of picked the best tracks from there. And that's basically how that happened. It is limited as of now. I hope it's not impressed forever. Just because I just don't think it's this cool little you know, Memento, but I don't think it's, you know, I don't want people getting the vibe that that's a new Pig Destroyer release or.
Right. If I read correctly, I think it's either 500 copies or 1,000 copies.
Like 1,200 or something like that,
Okay.
1,100, something like that. And then I don't know what they're doing on CD.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like probably much because CDs don't really sell at all these days in America.
Okay. Well, great artwork like always. This is Chris Crude, right?
Chris Taylor, yep.
Okay, awesome. What's the like at this point, like in 2021, I feel like I can't, like every time I think Pig Destroyer and Chris, it's all just one big mesh. Like I for me, it's hard to separate the both. So like, what was the process like working with him on this release?
This one was pretty streamlined and easy. You know, we wanted something that looked a little more punk and rough around the edges. Kind of like a, you know, I really hate to say that we ripped this off, and I don't think it came out like this, but kind of like an old I Hate God release, you know, kind of torn, kind of flyery looking, you know, like images that weren't super sharp and crisp and like kind of photocopied and done. So basically said, hey man, you know, we have zero time, can you turn this around? And that was that. The one thing I will note, and it's good because I never really proofread stuff the way I should, is I did catch that Chris, who has known JR out of anybody the longest, spelled JR's name wrong. So I was like, hey, you need to fix this little thing. So I'm hoping there's not a lot more spelling errors in it, but it's too late now. It comes out like next week. Okay,
that's cool. I like learning how in depth you are with everything Pig Destroyer. Like, yeah, you have to approve just the credits and stuff like that in the inlays. Okay, that's your role. Okay, that's a good one.
Well, I don't know if it's a role. We all kind of, as far as artwork in general goes, we all kind of contribute to have input, but it's, you know, sometimes it's too many cooks. So for example, our last full length was Head Cage. God, why can't I think of his name? It'll come to me. But the artist sent something and we weren't really crazy about it. So then there was a lot of back and forth. And then actually Scott was like, fuck this, I'll take it over and make it happen. And he did. Why can't I think of that guy's name? It's gonna drive me crazy.
I don't know, but for some reason, I actually thought it was Chris that did the artwork, just more of a digital, and it definitely has his vibe.
It does. God, it's gonna drive me nuts. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Okay, look it up. No worries.
Head Cage. See, this is the benefit of being on my computer at the same time. Mark McCoy. Sorry, he was in a band called Charles Bronson. I really love from Chicago.
Oh, of course, yeah, excellent. I didn't know he assembled this. Okay.
Yeah, he did the Full of Hell record before that, the Trumpeting Ecstasy.
Oh, that makes perfect sense now. Okay, that makes perfect sense.
I mean, he's a great visual artist. So
okay, dude. And it's cool because it's I like when I see our artwork and I'm not sure if it's illustration or digital or it's mixed media, so that definitely comes across. Or
I would assume that was mixed media. I have no idea. Like I said, at some point it was kind of, as far as I was concerned, hands off, and Scott was heading up that, and you know, by all accounts, I love it.
And talking about Pig Destroyer artwork, do you have a favorite album cover or merch
Terrifier
design?
hands down.
Oh, okay.
Terrifier hands down. That was before I was in the band, but even as a fan, like you know, I've known those guys forever. It was just such a very stark, different image for a grindcore band at the time. The record, and it goes very well with the record sound.
Yeah.
The record doesn't sound like a typical grindcore record either.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was very, at the time I remember them showing me the record, I was like, holy shit, guys, this is nuts. Like,
I like how quick your answer was. And dude, I agree. You know, the detail I love about that cover, how the logo is behind her head.
Yeah.
So you can only see, unless you really are aware of Pig Destroyer, you're not gonna know it's a Pig Destroyer record.
I mean, it's an eye-catching record too. It's, you know, if you're, and this was the days of CDs, and, you know, I think Relapse was trying to get into Best Buy and stuff like that. And if you're just kind of cruising around, you'd be like, oh shit, like that one sticks out.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say I have to agree with you on that one. Fuck yeah. Okay, I want to talk about what we were talking about before, how you run so many aspects of the bands. I feel, is it you that runs the social media for?
It is.
Okay.
And mostly because I would say Scott doesn't really have the time.
Right.
JR is not on social media at all.
Okay.
He can be a little hard to get a hold of sometimes, to be quite honest.
Okay.
And he likes it that way.
Okay.
And Travis and Adam's in like 6 bands.
Right.
And Travis is really new, so I wouldn't throw that. But yeah, I do a lot of stuff. It's definitely since I've been furloughed, which was around January. I've definitely kind of been trying to step my game up a little more with it and trying to like engage with our fans and engage with responses more to try to, like I said, I'm 45. So old social media, you just kind of used to post something and call it a day. Yeah. Now you need to like interact with your fans and do all that stuff to get the algorithms popping a little more.
Right. I think you do a pretty cool job because you have your personality definitely comes across. There's a lot of just like black humor there,
Yeah, I mean, I try to have fun with it too. There's only so many times you can say thanks for the sport.
Right.
Even though we do appreciate it all the time, I think it's like, you got to try to have fun with it. And even though our music's pretty dark and grim, in general, we're all fun people.
Yeah, you get that definitely comes across. What about when it comes to like merch designs? Because I feel like you guys have so many merch designs. Is that your ballpark?
Mostly. It doesn't always work out the way we hope. I have I think 3 or 4 stores in the US and 1 in Europe. So it's kind of tough to get them stocked with interesting designs all the time.
Okay.
Like recently we had Holy Mountain Printing, did some shorts and some sweatpants. And like stuff like that is stuff I've always been wanting to do, trying to work on a skateboard deck. A lot of the stuff is probably stuff that I just want hanging on my wall.
Excellent. Okay.
So, and if people like it, they like it. But, when you're working with someone else, it's got to sell too. Like we are not as concerned with sales as say, someone that owns the merch company.
Right. Okay.
But, we do our part and advertise too. So.
Okay. Well, Blake, here's a shameless plug. When this is done, I'm going to send you some of my artwork. If for whatever reason, this might fit in with
very good
at some point. Okay. So, fast forwarding, I recently learned that you booked Pig Destroyer's 3rd show ever.
It was like 3rd or 4th or something like that. Yeah. I mean, like we're going back 25 years maybe at this point. So like I said, I was in a band called Daybreak, and there was a local grindcore band, and I say local to the region, Enemy Soil, that JR used to be a part of.
Yes.
So our bass player for Daybreak went to college at Johns Hopkins University, and they had a big space and they would let us put on shows. So I think we called it Enemy Soil. Him and I were booking the show, and he said, well, you got to check this band Pig Destroyer out. And also Page 99, which was Chris Taylor's band.
Awesome.
So that's how we met those guys, basically. It was a Baltimore show, and it wasn't too far for everybody. And it was real cool, and it was really a pleasure. I think Daybreak was kind of obnoxious. We had like a laminated cards that we made about anti-crust punks, so I think that kind of endeared us to like the Pig Destroyer guys right away. But
there you go, that back to the black humor. Yeah, it totally makes sense. And I feel like you booking shows back then in that kind of scene, there must be like some band you can show off, like, oh yeah, I booked that band back in the 90s. Is there like a special mention?
Oh man. I mean, booking Pig Destroyer back in the 90s was cool. I booked Kylesa in Baltimore, maybe their first Baltimore show. Wow. There's a band called Noothgrush. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
Yeah.
We had Noothgrush, we had Dystopia. A lot of bands like that. Obviously the bands from California were on tour, and we didn't just call them, be like, hey man, feel like coming down? Like, so, but yeah, we did a lot of stuff like that then. And I feel like that's part of the thing with the punk scene these days is it's a little underrepresented for the most part, because I don't think people, it's a risk. It's a bigger thing. You don't want to just, we have a couple good kind of more underground promoters in the DC, Baltimore area, but it's a big deal. And, I can't say back in the day, you used to, Daybreak or my other band Triac, we would just be like, oh yeah, we'll play Lancaster, Pennsylvania on a Tuesday night. Like, who gives a shit? We just didn't care.
Right.
And
you mentioned Enemy Soil before. I was lucky enough because they did that short run of reunion shows, I believe. I was able to catch them in Netherlands. Which I believe was the last show they played.
Probably. They might have done some stuff on the West Coast, but yeah.
Okay. Are you aware? I think I heard they aren't going to be doing anything else?
To my knowledge, no. Okay. Rich is in Drugs of Faith, and he has a new band. I can't remember the name. And also an agoraphobic. Jared's got Pig Destroyer. And Mason, the bass player, kind of, he's a dad. And I don't think he just really, like, he had fun doing it while he did it. But I think he was like, it's time,
Right. So it was just like a fun one-off thing they did.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And the same thing I asked you about John Waters before. I feel like you must have like a good Seth Putnam story somewhere.
No, actually, I don't. I haven't. I probably met Seth only once or twice before he passed.
Okay.
And being the noise guy in Pig Destroyer, I felt like I was an easy target for Seth to say a bunch of obnoxious shit to. So we did play a fest with Anal Cunt in California called the Murder Fest, LA Murder Fest. And I think when he came into our room, I would just walk out, just because I was like, I'm an easy target and he's just going to say something. I mean, I've heard a bunch of crazy Seth Putnam stories, but.
Can you share one of those? Because I know Scott Hull has had a lot of
yes, maybe. I think the first time Pig Destroyer went to Japan, and this is a grindcore show for you, it was Pig Destroyer, Nozzle, Rotten Sound, and Anal Cunt.
Okay.
And Seth just didn't give a fuck. So they said, like, the Pig Destroyer dude said, like, he was in the airport smoking a cigarette, and like the guards would come up and try to talk to him, and he'd just be like, pretend like he didn't speak English and obviously he didn't speak Japanese.
Right.
So just like obnoxious shit like that.
Gotcha. Okay, that falls right into place with the stuff you'd hear about that dude. All right, man. Yeah, I only have one experience. Well, I saw Anal Cunt live once, but my other experience was when I lived in New York. Full Blown AIDS, which is what used to be one of his bands, was playing. That bar, I don't know if it still exists, Charleston?
I have no idea.
Okay.
No. I don't know if it exists, and I don't know it.
So. Okay. So, yeah, well, when I got to the show early, he was walking around there, and he looked what seems like drunk or drugged out of his mind. And
probably both.
Yeah. And for some reason, he just decided not to play. But they were at the bar just drinking beers. But they canceled at the same moment. So
you would think that if you canceled a show that like early and decide not to play, you would go to a different bar.
Yeah, exactly.
So people weren't bothering you asking why you're not playing. But
that was my thought process. But you were able to express it much better. So props to you. I wanted to ask you about were you in Pig Destroyer in 2005? I think you weren't.
Yeah, that's the year I joined.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going on 15, 16 years.
Okay. So good. Then this is an appropriate question for you. Living in Madrid, Spain, the only time I believe Pig Destroyer was scheduled to play in Madrid, Spain was in 2005.
So I can speak to this. I was not in the band, but I joined the band that year. But yeah, I distinctly remember them being in Dulles, which is our local international airport, and not getting to go, Yeah, that was a big sketch. There was like 2 or 3 other dates, I think, lined
Yeah.
up, and
Do you
yeah,
know? I don't know what happened. Do you?
something with storms and a flight,
Okay.
like
So
basically airport bullshit.
okay.
Other than that, no, that was 50, like I said, 16 years ago. So
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
yeah, it was like one of those like, yeah, you can't get a flight until tomorrow. And was like, well, why are we gonna go?
Gotcha.
I think they
Okay.
just bailed
Okay.
on the whole thing.
Okay. I wanted to ask you another question because Pig Destroyer's music appeared on what I believe is one of the greatest shows ever aired on TV, which is Workaholics. What's the story behind that? Because if I recall correctly, I think you guys appeared more than once.
Not on Workaholics. We've been on a couple different shows. There was a show called, oh my God, there's the guys from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia have a new show. I still haven't seen it because it's on like Amazon Prime or Apple TV that I don't have.
That's awesome. I had no idea about that.
Okay. Yep. And then we were on the new MacGyver, which is a reboot, which is kind of cool because that was network TV. But the Workaholics, that type of stuff just pops up, and usually they get in touch with Relapse. What was cool about that was I was in DC seeing Voivod, and Adam DeVine happened to be at the bar that was below it. So my buddy Chris Moore, that's currently in Repulsion, is in DOC and all kinds of other grime bands.
Right.
He was working that night and he was like, "Hey man, this guy from Modern Family is out here." And I'm like a huge fan. I'm like, "Oh shit, that's Adam DeVine from Workaholics." So he was like clearly like macking on these 2 girls. And I was like, "Hey man, use my band's song in one of your episodes." And he was like, "Yeah, man, that was probably Blake that picked you guys." I'm like, "That's cool. Can I get a picture?" And he was like, "I guess." And my girlfriend wanted a picture. And he basically, after my picture, he sat down and was like, "All right." I mean, he wasn't rude, but he was like, "All right, guys, thanks." Yeah. So it was kind of funny. It was like, I totally just got like 100% snubbed, but it's cool.
Yeah, he was setting his priorities straight. He was like, Blake or 2 girls.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like the other guy, I can't recall his name. He's the one that's you can definitely see the other guy in Workaholics. He's more into like punk.
There's Blake and Anders, and Blake was the guy I think that orchestrated that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so it was between them and Relapse. I thought maybe there was some sort of friendship there. Okay.
No. We don't get out that much. So it's we recently like Alistair Black, he's a famous wrestler, wore one of our shirts, but we don't know him.
Okay.
And God, there's a guy that just posted Rob Delaney. He's like a comedian. He was in Deadpool 2. He like tweeted a picture of us and said how wholesome we were looking. So it's kind of cool that we get on people's radar without like doing it ourselves. I don't really know how it happens, but
that's such a good surprise. Like you just mentioned those people, but is there anyone that wore your shirt that totally blew your mind?
I mean, Alistair Black, and I think I said him. Yeah, it is a big deal. I don't really care for wrestling. Right. So it was like one of those days where I was probably had a little bit of a hangover and sleeping in, and I woke up and there was like 50 texts from all of my friends that watch wrestling. They're like, "Holy shit, Alistair Black's wearing your shirt." I'm like, "Who's that?" But we've reached out to him and we messaged Rob Delaney and just say thanks for the promotion and stuff. And they're really cool guys, man.
That's smart. Yeah, that's good.
I don't know, like if we played LA, I might hit up Rob Delaney and be like, "Hey, if you feel like coming out, we got you." But I wouldn't be up his ass about it. And I'm not even sure where Alistair Black lives. I don't think he's American.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I'm not big into wrestling. I was as a kid, but I think he stands out as he's like the metal hardcore wrestler.
Right. Yeah. Which is cool, man. There's like, CM Punk was kind of into punk music and stuff too, right? So that's kind of cool that it's getting out there in the, I want to say, more normal world.
Okay, so we're just waiting for Nicolas Cage to wear the.
Man, I would be so excited about that. After I saw Mandy, Nicolas Cage can do no wrong again.
Is that your favorite Nicolas Cage movie?
It's my favorite recent Nicolas Cage movie.
Have you seen Color Out of Space?
Of course, I'm a huge H.P. Lovecraft fan.
Excellent.
I feel like as far as, we're circling back to movies, but I feel like it's very hard for anybody to pull off a good H.P. Lovecraft movie. And,
And
like the ones with Jeffrey Combs are cool, but they're really schlocky.
right.
And probably the best one is the horror, Dunwich Horror, which was in the 70s, and it had what is that guy's name? He was in Quantum Leap.
Okay, no, I don't recall.
In Quantum Leap. I keep thinking of Sam Neill, but it's not Sam Neill, and it's not even the same guy. But yeah, the Dunwich Horror is probably one of the closest. It's like for those that don't know, it's like a real 70s kind of a cult horror movie.
Dude, duly noted, because I haven't seen that.
No, it's a great movie.
Okay.
It's probably the only one that's closest to a Lovecraft story, but it's really hard to do Lovecraft in a visual format.
Right. Okay. So do you feel okay, here's a good question. This is kind of schlocky, kind of cheesy, but did you watch Nightbreed?
Yeah, not anytime recently.
Okay. Because that's H.P. Lovecraft, I believe.
I think it's loosely based off of just like one of the ones that's called Castle Freak.
There you go. Yeah, that's like Stuart Gordon.
Yeah, that's so loosely based off of two Lovecraft stories. It's like they're barely even in there.
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
why can't I think man, now I'm blanking on all of these. The other Jeffrey Combs one, Reanimator,
From Beyond.
From Beyond.
There you go.
Those are like pretty close to the story, except Reanimator's not. But
yeah. And then there's Dagon as well.
Close. Dagon is one of the better ones.
Okay.
I love that one. That's like 10, 12 years old, but
yeah, even older. But that's cool. I didn't know you were that big into Lovecraft, so that's cool, dude.
Yeah, I am. It's problematic these days. The more and more you find out about his history and his life, but
right. And shit, I'm blanking right now. But rewinding back to Nicolas Cage, don't you feel like I feel like he's created his own genre at this point?
Yeah, I mean, like, he's horribly overacting in Mandy and The Color Out of Space, but in Mandy it works really well.
Yeah.
Like a buddy of mine, a guy that's like super into movies, told me that, and this was news to me. I'm like, man, Nicolas Cage just does anything. He was like, yeah, he like has a crazy spending habit. Like he owns like Tyrannosaurus Rex skulls and shit like that.
Oh wow!
That he spends like millions of dollars on this stuff. So he's like, all right, I guess he just calls his agents like, whatever it is, I'll do it.
That makes him that much cooler.
It kind of does. I mean, he basically is, it's kind of like John Travolta had a resurgence when he came back and did Pulp Fiction, but he was kind of like, everyone was like, oh, what a cheese dick actor and stuff like that. And come to find out, he's actually a really good actor.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage never stopped working. I just think he's just like, whatever, man, I'll do whatever and I'll have fun with some of them and some of them I won't.
He's just like that stoner that stays on your couch and won't leave.
Right. I mean, I thought his Bad Lieutenant was really good.
Oh, yeah, that's right, dude. Yeah, it's hard to top off the original, but that one was.
It's a completely different movie.
Yeah,
like 100%. But like that's cool because you would want to see that movie remade.
Exactly, for sure. Shit. Okay. We're going back to bands. I wanna. Is there anything before we talk about Hatebeak? Anything you want to mention about Pig Destroyer before we?
No. I mean, we're currently working, and saying we is meaning me. I'm having trouble finding my muse here. We're remixing a Perturbator track. Perturbator just released a record.
Oh wow!
So like he's got some other people involved. Like Author Punisher did a remix of it. That's already out. That's really cool. But everyone's doing the track Excess off the new record. That, and I guess we're trying. We're as of now we're still headed to the UK in November, and we've got the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest in September where we're doing Prowling the Yard its entirety.
Yes, that lineup is insane, and I don't know if you're a fan, but the recent edition of Dead Guy blew.
Oh no, I've been sitting on that information for a long time. I love Dead Guy, and I'm super excited. Super excited,
dude. Wow. Yeah, congratulations on being able to see that. Did you see them back in the day?
Oh yeah. I think we might have booked them at Micah, which is art college in Baltimore. I mean, this
Yeah.
was eons ago. I don't remember if me and my buddies booked it or I was just there. And fun fact about that, the band that opened was Corpse Grinder, which was George Fisher from Cannibal Corpse fame.
Oh wow, dude. Yeah, this is insane. I feel like yeah, I'd love to go through all of those flyers you booked and just ask you questions.
I mean, if I don't think I have any of them, but you know, so that was
yeah.
that was pretty cool. Then that might have been the place, same place where my old band played with Dystopia.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, the memory gets a little fuzzy.
Awesome. Yeah, before we get into Hatebeak, maybe you're not the person that should answer this, but is Agoraphobic Nosebleed still on?
I mean, I think currently we're writing a new Pig Destroyer record.
Okay.
So I'm you're right, I'm not the person to answer that. So typically I can say usually it's like Pig Destroyer record, then once we do that, Scott focuses on an Agoraphobic record.
Right.
For some reason, and I'm not really sure why, he's working on a Pig Destroyer record instead of Agoraphobic record. So
Okay.
I mean, it's not done. It's not, they're not broken up or anything.
Okay.
I don't really know the ins and outs.
Okay. Oh, and rewinding back a bit, you were mentioning, so you're doing that remix for Perturbator. Is it what's your setup like when you do something like that?
You're kind of looking at it, or I'm looking at it.
Oh, okay.
It's basically my computer.
Okay.
This is the problem I'm having right now, is trying to find the right stuff to fit in with the music and what Scott has changed. So Adam recorded live drums. He wrote a bass track for Travis to play. And Scott wrote a guitar part. There's not really a guitar part in it. So I'm trying to find my space in there, and time is kind of running out. So after I get off the phone, after I get off this call, I got to put a little more work into it.
Okay, gotcha.
So
okay.
I feel like I made some strides last night, but you know, it's maybe a different story when I send it to Scott and he's like, nope, because we've definitely been through that a couple times on this one, and you know, with good reason. We want it to be the best we can do. So
for sure, that's fucking sick. I had no idea about that. Awesome, dude. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Hatebeak.
Okay, this will be a very brief conversation, probably.
Okay. Yeah, in 2015 you put out your first and only full length. I know I have a bunch of like 7 inches and splits, but I feel like that full length was the coolest thing you guys did. Like
thank you. So that is got all the material from those splits.
It's a comp.
And it's 7 or 8 new tracks comparatively. I don't want to say new because it's 6 years old at this point. The big holdup with that was the artist who did the cover kind of really dragged his feet. Reptilian Records, who put it out, was more of a label then, and kind of in the interim wasn't really a big label, or not doing much then, and now it's kind of back. So that we did a split with Richard Christie uses his guinea pigs, and it was called Boar Glue. We did a split with him. God, that probably came out 3 or 4 years ago on Puppy Mill Records. So that's basically the last thing. The other guy that lives in Hatebeak, he kind of owns his own business, kind of has 2 kids. I don't say kind of. He owns his own business, has 2 kids.
Has
how do you kind of have 2 kids? So he's kind of pretty busy, and it's just been challenging for me to get up there and us to get any work done. And we don't really see each other that much. Obviously, even, you know, when I say stuff, I don't want pandemic excluded because I feel like everybody knows. They're like, so what have you been doing for the past 15 months? So, you know, it's, and we don't see each other that much. So it's kind of, when we do get together, we very rarely get anything done because it's catching up and drinking and hanging out.
Okay.
I don't know that, you know, I'd really like to finish a couple things with Hatebeak, some ideas I have. I don't know that I'll ever get around to it. And since it's kind of a more fun thing, it's, it doesn't really bother me.
Okay, gotcha. And yeah, so you guys put out that record with Reptilian. Is that because I know you and the rest of the guys have a close relationship with Reptilian.
Yeah.
And is that the only thing you've released, whether it's Pig Destroyer or Hatebeak, with Reptilian?
No, I mean, Reptilian released Daybreak stuff. My other band Triac was on Reptilian. Reptilian did a picture disc of Prowler in the Yard.
Okay.
No. Well, they did the first picture disc of Prowler in the Yard, and maybe a 7-inch for Pig Destroyer. Well, it was there was the knob split that Pig Destroyer did, and Reptilian just did the Pig Destroyer side.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool, man.
So there's like, as far as I'm concerned, I probably have like, 5-6 Reptilian releases. He lived in Baltimore and was a good friend of mine, but now he lives in Texas.
That's awesome. I thought it was super witty of JR on that one Pig Destroyer song where he actually mentioned Reptilian Records. I don't know if you recall that. That was
no,
cool.
not really. I've known Chris. Chris is the owner of Reptilian's like my punk rock older brother. I mean, he's my brother's age, and he turned me on to so much stuff when I was younger that I don't know that like I would like the Dead Boys right now if Chris didn't turn me on to that sort of stuff,
Awesome. Okay. I think we covered Hatebeak. I want to ask you about your time in Triac, because I just learned you were in Triac, and I saw Triac a couple of years ago, and for me, that's one of the coolest modern American grindcore bands.
I mean, look, Jake, the drummer, is a beast. He's got a great single-footed blast. He hits hard as fuck. Triac mixes in all kinds of stuff, like super heavy noise and stuff like that. It was a much different band at the time when I was in it. We originally had Rich from Enemy Soul and Agoraphobic play bass. He was on maybe only one release. I could be misremembering. And then the other guy from Hatebeak was actually in Triac too. Okay. So it's weird for me to say it because like they're an amazing band, but I haven't been a part of that band in probably 17 years. So it's a much different and much better animal than it used to be.
Were you in the initial incarnation?
Yeah.
Okay. What year was that?
I have no idea. That's going back.
Okay. Definitely like 20 years or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I've probably been out of Triac for 16 years at this point.
I just stepped on my dog's tail. So
no, that's cool. Mine is wagging around too. Wants me to pay attention to
if he gets a cameo on the camera, that's not a problem at all.
Yeah, he's laying down right now. Okay. We're gonna leave that alone.
Okay. So now let's go to, sorry, I forgot how to pronounce this. Zealot. RIP. I was able to grab a copy of that 12-inch. I thought it was really witty how it was just a 3-song 12-inch on 31G Records, which is one of my favorite labels. Any future plans?
So yes, we are currently finishing up the next record, which includes those 3 songs and then 4 others, kind of remixed, remastered. And that will also be on 31G. I think we're looking at a release date of late August right now. Nice. And because of that, I just got an email. One of the many things I was working on before we got on this call. The video guy was shooting over some images and stuff. So there's that. We finally are starting to, America's starting to open up a little more. Mm-hmm. So I think we're playing some shows right now, but nothing that's real. It's a lot of talk, but we're getting there.
Awesome.
So we've been writing a little bit. Hopefully we get some new songs together, start recording those. We've probably got about 5 or 6 new songs. I'm not sure what the plan is. And unlike Pig Destroyer, I'm the only one in that band without kids. So Mike has Darkest Hour. And Darkest Hour, I think, is recording or writing right currently, like maybe even today. So it's it's a lot of juggling. It's kind of hard to manage everyone's schedules.
Okay, that makes sense. But that's awesome. I had no idea we were gonna look forward to a full length, maybe like late summer. So excellent.
I say full length, but it's probably about 20 minutes worth of music.
Oh yeah, well, a punk full length.
Right.
Okay, awesome. And I'm gonna ask you a question, which I'm gonna start asking everyone on the podcast, which is, what band do you enjoy that none of your friends enjoy? Not necessarily like a guilty pleasure, but something like you can't share. I love sharing stuff with my friends, but there's bands I can't share. Do you have one of those bands?
I mean, I've got a lot of that stuff. There's a band called King Horse from Louisville that I happened to see on the first Danzig tour.
Ooh.
And Danzig produced that record. It's just a weird, super punk metal country. I don't think they gave a fuck. What's funny is actually I'm kind of in contact with their singer now. And the 16-year-old me is like fucking going nuts that I know that guy. There's a band from the UK called Lawnmower Death that
yes.
I don't think a lot of people in America like that band. So I'm a huge fan. I wrote a Hall of Fame for them for Decibel magazine.
Oh shit.
So that should be coming out this year. When we're going to the UK in November, I'm trying to get them to play at least one show with us. But yeah, those two stick out. Like, I love both those bands, and not too many of my friends like them, or how it is. You're like, hey man, I love this. You got to check it out. And everyone's like, that's all right.
Yeah. Like, how are you not in love with this? But I'm definitely going to check out King Horse, because it sounds like it would fit in with early Danzig from what you're saying.
Yes, it is. It's like early Danzig, but rougher.
Nice.
I don't know. Hopefully Sean doesn't listen to this, because he would probably be really upset with that comparison. But yeah, Sean, so I'm sorry if you do hear this and that insults you. It's not meant like that. It's just,
dude, something just came to mind, which was, I discovered a band because you guys shouted them out. It's possible it was you. I think you were touring the UK and you wanted Blacklisters to play with you. And
I love that band.
That's one of those bands that I discovered thanks to you guys. And I'm always like, guys, check this out. And everyone's like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. Yeah.
I haven't talked to those guys in quite a bit. I don't know if they're even active anymore. I think they might have another band, but like Scott and I and JR like always loved that old Jesus Lizard type of heavy noise rock sound. And Blacklisters was one of the newer. There's a lot of bands since then that have kind of revisited that sound, but Blacklisters was one of the newer bands to do that. And it was kind of weird. Like, we were going to the UK and I was like, hey, tour agent, like, can you get these guys? And he was like, are you sure? I'm like, fuck yeah, I am. And it was great playing shows with them and hanging out with those guys. When we go to the UK, we probably did three shows. So, it's not like a worldwide tour. And they were super cool guys. I don't think a lot of our fan base got it. But at the same time, I think a lot of people connected with it and learned something that they never would have heard of.
That's a dude. Well, anyways, thanks for that. Cause I don't think I would have ever discovered them if it weren't for that shout out, you guys.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're all music fans. So if we get the opportunity to bring somebody on tour that, or play a couple shows with that we like, and we think, those shows are for us too, I want to see a band that I really want to see. So, and if, some of our fan base gets it, hopefully all of them do, that's super cool.
And it might even just be a selfish thing, because you ask the promoter, you're like, I really want to see Blacklisters. And there's a good chance if I might see them if you put them on the show.
I mean, that's basically what I'm trying to do with Lawnmower Death in the UK.
Okay, awesome. So are there Pig Destroyer UK fans in the future?
Fans or dates?
Sorry, dates.
Yeah, so we have Damnation Festival booked.
Oh, that's right.
Currently, and we're planning on doing 2 to 3 shows around that.
Okay, excellent.
Right now, it's still up in the air. We are not. I don't want to say, we get a lot of questions from the UK fan base asking if we're coming. Currently, yes.
Okay.
But with the global pandemic going on, you really never know what's going to happen.
Right.
So as of now, the plan is to do that. I never want to say never or yes to 100% everything.
Right. Are these going to be regular sets or Prowler in the Yard?
No, this is just our regular set.
Gotcha. Okay. My last question before we leave, I think we've already dabbled into this, but I want to know if you've seen any cool horror movies during the pandemic. Anything
my
you want to
God.
shout out or mention?
There's a couple things I started. So just this weekend, my nephew actually sent me the YouTube link, and it was kind of sucked to watch because it was all slammed together. But it's 45 minutes of cut scenes from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So
Wow,
that was super interesting to me.
I wasn't aware of this. There's 45 minutes of cut scenes of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Like I said, it was kind of hard to watch because it's not in the context of the movie.
Right.
But I've seen that movie so many, probably 100 times. I can basically fill it all in my head.
What a cool nephew, by the way.
Yeah. He's definitely learning from his uncle a little bit. So not necessarily horror films, but I've been watching. There's a movie a couple years old. It's kind of the more sci-fi action horror called Upgrade.
That was a really good one. It
was really good. The Kill List was amazing.
Oh, I've never heard about that. Kill List.
Yeah, it's kind of like a spy.
Okay.
Spy into a cult.
Okay, cool.
So like, without being, it doesn't look or feel anything like this, but it's kind of Rosemary's Baby, where it's all one thing and then it just takes this drastic left-hand turn.
Wow. Okay.
So that and like Annihilation and Under the Skin, even though those aren't really new. I probably watch either the first Alien or the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre once a month. Like those are probably two of my favorite movies. And there is other stuff. It's just nothing sticking out offhand. But like, I feel like, 10, 20 minutes after we're done this, I'll be like, oh, and this, and this.
Yeah. No, I mean, you definitely hit me up with like 5 or 6 good ones. They didn't necessarily have to be new films. They can be like, oh, I checked out this movie from 1968 that blew my mind.
I did rewatch the original Wicker Man.
Okay.
And I love that. It's the Nick Cage one is terrible. But I think
in a good way.
Yes. This one's really good. It's got Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
And it was kind of the first psychological horror film. I don't know that it holds up, but it's got a special place for me.
Yeah, when I watched it for the first time, I was like, I can't believe how, I don't know if the word is anti-religious, but it's so like
it was definitely counter of what was going on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like 68 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was way ahead of its time. And like it being, like I said, probably the first, psychological horror film ever made.
Yeah, that might be true. I never actually thought about that, but that might be
if
true.
It's not, it's close to the first one. It's like, and it was cool because I had Christopher Lee, and you remember him as like, Dracula and all this crazy Hammer horror film shit. And then he's like, just kind of in there, just chilling.
Totally. So, before we leave, I'm gonna give you and the rest of the Pig Destroyers a really cool compliment, which I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but since we're talking about horror, I'd say David Cronenberg is to horror what Pig Destroyer is to grindcore.
Thank you. That's very flattering. And we also all love Cronenberg, obviously. I mean, I don't know if that's obvious, but we do.
I think it's obvious. I think
there's always something I said, and especially when I first joined, that I really feel like that Pig Destroyer is probably not the perfect. Saying anything that we do is perfect is always, that feels weird. But it's a marriage between film and music, or tries to be, or we try to. Hence when I have a lot of detractors, kind of sometimes that say, well, you don't really do shit and you don't really do that. I'm like, well, that's cool, that's your opinion, but like, I try to bring that element to the band.
Not at all. It's a soundscape. It works for Pig Destroyer. It wouldn't work for many other bands, but Pig Destroyer does sound like storytelling, musically and lyrically.
Right. And art and visually too,
100%. Yeah.
It's and that's kind of what we try to do. Again, I think it's weird to be like, yeah, I think we fucking nailed it. That's not who we are as people.
I get it. That's why I just wanted to give you that compliment.
No, I appreciate that. That's really great, man. That's a great comparison. And actually probably one of the first ones I've ever gotten that specifically Cronenberg.
Fuck yeah. Okay.
And,
I was feeling like I feel like someone must have come up with this before, but it's good to know.
people have mentioned other artists, other directors and stuff like that, but Cronenberg might be the first one. And actually I'll probably maybe check out some Cronenberg stuff today.
Dude,
it's been a while. You kind of planted that seed in my head.
dude, awesome. I recently with my girlfriend, we did the marathon from start to finish, like his early works. And it's, as you can imagine, it's a total mind fuck. And it was
That's
nice.
a lot. That's a lot to dig into too, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just like, was he like 25 movies or something like that?
Pretty much. It's pretty much.
It's a considerable amount.
But it's fun because my friend Chus did the same thing, and he liked more the latter ones, while I really enjoyed just the earlier ones. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like some of the B grade ones, it's he definitely, I mean, you can see it, but like limiting yourself, or him being limited by, either time or money, it kind of makes his style stick out and is a little more obvious.
For sure.
Because he's like, well, I don't have money to do this, so I'm going to do it this way, or I don't have time. Like a lot of people tend to overlook, I think, a lot of his earlier films.
Yeah. But they're definitely I feel like in nerd culture, there's definitely like a cult status with those films.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's just like John Waters, and like,
there you go. Yeah.
How many people did you know that have like, watched Female Trouble?
There you go. Yeah.
Like that's a pretty obscure one for him.
Are you aware of the Criterion Collection?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay. It blew my mind when they started releasing his films. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No, I mean, I know that they did, and he is I can see it, but at the same time, it does seem it. Criterion's kind of like the Time Life books of movies.
Yeah.
It seems like that would be a little edgier for their crowd.
Yeah, but that's all. That's awesome. They're celebrating it. They just put out what was it? Polyester with the scratch and sniff card.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, man. So
a buddy of mine is super into the Criterion stuff, man. And I've got my record collecting habit and being furloughed, man. Like I have so many DVDs. I'm like, I'm good on this. Like if I can get buy a download or something like that, I'll do that. But gotcha. Physical DVDs are not really a thing I'm super into collecting anymore. Mostly because my record collection grows by the day. So,
okay, you're one of those. Okay, that's good to know.
I'm definitely one of those.
Awesome. And I'm gonna say bye with, just so you know, Criterion Collection does have their own like streaming service, I believe.
Oh yeah. I don't think I knew that, but that's a good tip.
Okay, dude. Blake, thank you so much for your time. You're super easygoing, super. I feel like we connected on music and movies and all that shit.
Most definitely, man. Are you guys coming to the States anytime soon, or?
No. The quick answer is no. Like, of course we want to make it happen. And maybe once the pandemic goes away, we'll see the possibility of making it happen. I'll definitely let you know if we make it happen.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And definitely hit up Death Fest, man. They
yes. Dude,
that'd be killer. Outdoor lot next year, which they hadn't done for years.
Oh, but before we leave, do you want me to edit the beginning out where you talk about your medical issues?
Oh no, I don't care.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want it to be like a thing where people feel sorry for me. But okay. I don't mind that at all.
Okay, awesome. I'll let you know when this goes up. Give me like a week.
Yeah.
Stay in touch, and thank you so much.
And I won't promise, but I will send this to Relapse.
Okay.
Sometimes I can get them to promote this sort of thing. Sometimes I can't. I always try. So I will post it. The Picture will post it, but
okay. No worries. This is kind of like the blacklisters thing with you. For me, this is more of a selfish thing. Me enjoying the pandemic.
No, that's cool, but still, like, it's information and that's cool.
I totally get it.
It's probably rough to make money off podcasts these days. Everyone else is doing it too.
Yeah, for me, it's just a reason to make catch up with old friends and make new friends.
Yeah, cheers. So what time is it there? Like 8:30?
Exactly, it's 7:30. Yeah. So gonna be.
Well, I appreciate you working with me. I know you had some work stuff to do. Like tomorrow would have been brutal. We could have moved it to a different day, but
Not a problem at all. And thank you for making this such a smooth one. You just, you made it really easy. You're like, yep,
I
I'm
try, man.
available.
I try.
You did. And that was Zealot RIP with Magnetic Field of Dreams off their first and only EP. Looking forward to the full length, the 20-minute punk full length. A little bit of trivia here. That's Blake doing vocals, and that's pretty fucking sick. He reminds me of the more punk element Phil Anselmo brings to some of his bands. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for enjoying this conversation. If you enjoyed the Subway Rat podcast, please like, rate, subscribe, show it to your friends, show it to your grandmother, show it to your bus driver, show it to your dog. Goodbye, good night, good morning, boys and ghouls.